What's good everyone, Shret here. So today I'm bringing you an Invoked Lightsworn deck profile. Now obviously Invoked Lightsworn, you've seen it everywhere. It's one of my favourite decks. Back when Grass was at free, I used to play a 60 card version of this deck, and I think we're just going to get straight into the deck profile because I want to talk a lot about this first card. So 3 copies of Judgment Dragon. Now Judgment Dragon is probably the main reason why I play Lightsworn. Lightsworn have become one of my favourite decks because of Judgment Dragon. Judgment Dragon is such a good card. I don't really need to explain too much because if you don't know what Judgment Dragon does, I don't know, maybe you just started playing Yu-Gi-Oh or something, but Judgment Dragon being able to easily summon him, barely any conditions, just 4 different Lightsworns in the graveyard, which is so easy to get because this deck mills and mills and mills no matter what your hand is. It barely ever bricks because there's obviously so many consistency cards and because Charge came back to free and other stuff, which I will explain later. But Judgment Dragon is so good. Being able to blow up the field, being able to drop 3 of him, push for game, 3,000 attack points, it will remain one of the best cards in Yu-Gi-Oh until Yu-Gi-Oh dies, in my opinion. Judgment Dragon, Lightsworn are probably the deck that has survived the most, probably the longest living deck, because Lightsworn always seems to be round about the tier 2 point, and right now I think it is the tier 2, round about the tier 2 point, maybe not tier 1 because there's obviously Spirals, Tricksters and Pendulum Magicians, but free Judgment Dragon. I noticed that a lot of competitive players like playing Lightsworn without the JDs, but obviously we got to do it for the buzz, we got to do it for the memes, we got to play Judgment Dragon. If you're playing Lightsworn and not playing Judgment Dragon, that is a crime against humanity, in my opinion. So next up, let's play 3 copies of WULF Lightsworn Beast. Now WULF Lightsworn Beast is obviously better than Felice because Felice has a bit more conditions to summoning him, plus WULF has a 2100 attack point, so it's a good beat stick. Obviously it remains as a brick in your hand, but we have got recharge to kind of sort that out. A lot of the time you'll use WULF to go into Minerva. You can even if you brick, there's always that chance in Lightsworns. That's why people call them Saxworn. When you summon Raiden, mill 2, you manage to get a WULF, and then you can go into Minerva and carry on playing from there and sort out your bricks. So that's what I love about Lightsworn as well. It's just that look factor in the deck is really cool. I like it. Obviously when you mill 2 spells you're raging, but when you mill the WULF and Felice off the Raiden in a brick hand, that is actually amazing. So next up, talking about Raiden, we play 3 copies of Raiden. Raiden's probably the best Lightsworn, I think, because being able to mill 2 in the main phase rather than wait till the end phase, plus it's level 4 tuner, so you can go into your synchros. We don't play too many synchros because we play a few links now obviously, but it's overall a really good card. It can easily get them Lightsworn in the graveyard, so you'll be able to drop your JDs. Next up, one of the better Lightsworns is free Lumina. Obviously I can't really decide which one's better, Lumina or Raiden, but Lumina really just help with link summoning and really help with swarming, being able to discard any dead card in your hand like a WULF, or then being able to bring back the WULF or bring back another Lumina, use that Lumina's effect to summon something back from the graveyard. Easy synchro summons, easily get into Minerva, which Minerva, I did say Raiden's the best Lightsworn, maybe best Lightsworn in the main deck, but Minerva is probably the best Lightsworn, we'll put it like that. So 3 copies of Lumina. I don't really recommend cutting it to 2 because you don't see it too often, but one of the cards that I have cut down to 2 is the next card, which is 2 copies of Felice Lightsworn Archer. Now Felice is a good card, don't get me wrong here, but because you're already playing the free WULF, playing free Felice seems a bit excessive because you're obviously going to be able to mill and get enough monsters on the field. And one of the problems I found with this deck is you get too many monsters on the field that you don't have zones left to sort anything out or to summon anything good. So Felice, because it's a bit harder to summon and because it's not as good as WULF, I'm only playing 2 copies. You could probably cut it down to 1 and it wouldn't really make much difference, but I don't recommend putting it at 3 because you're obviously prone to more bricking as well, because WULF and Felice are inherently bricks if you manage to get them into your hand. And we have got a few other bricks in this deck because obviously, you know, Brilliant Fusion, stuff like that, so we don't want to play too many brick cards. So I think the free WULF and the 2 Felice is the proper way to play it. Next up, for the one-offs, we play 1 GAROTH. GAROTH's good just when you use Minerva's effect or when you use Raiden's effect, being able to mill a couple extra cards off GAROTH, potentially get some more draws. Overall good. It's not a necessary card if you want to cut it, I totally understand that, but I like GAROTH. I like the kind of combo plays you can do with him because you can draw more cards from your deck, potentially get JDs or more combo pieces to be able to push for game. Next up, 1 Lila. Lila is overall a good card. Lila, the way I see it is you can play it or you don't have to play it. If you're going to play it, play only 1 copy because it's not really essential. It's nice to just have another card that can blow up back row, because obviously in this deck you have JD, which is the ultimate card that blows up everything, but Lila's another good card that you can use. It is another level 4, so you can easily use it for Minerva. We got enough level 4s with the Lila. Overall solid card, you don't have to play it, but I do like playing it. Next up, one copy of the Little Minerva. This card, I only play it for Crystron Needle Fiber because I didn't really have anything else. I was going to put Glow Up Bulb in. I was just like, might as well play another Lightsworn, so I put Minerva in. You can summon Needle Fiber and then special summon Minerva from the deck. Plus, drawing Minerva isn't the worst. It's another level 3 tuner, so overall okay. Next up, one of the best cards in the deck, of course, one of the best cards in the game right now. 3 copies of ALEISTER the Invoker. He hasn't got much attention recently because of spirals and tricksters and stuff, but ALEISTER's always going to be good until there's something better than him. I highly doubt Invocation or any of the Invoke cards are getting hit anytime soon, so this deck is a good option if you're kind of scared of ban lists, wrecking tricksters, pendulum magicians and spirals, because I think Lightsworn will be one of the best decks if we are to get a ban list which gets rid of all the main decks, which isn't optimistic actually. I think it could be quite there's a high chance of it occurring. But if you guys want a ban list prediction video, please tell me in the comment section. I will do that if you guys request it. So 3 copies of ALEISTER, searching the Invocation, obviously just another normal summon that to utilize. Probably one of the best normal summons you can do actually, because you get so much just out of one normal summon, which is overall really solid. So next up, we're playing 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring because everybody and their mother are playing it, as Lithium would say. But Ash Blossom is kind of essential nowadays. Just being able to stop your opponent's Pot of Desires or any of their searching cards like their Light Stage or their Candy Gnaw or anything like that is really important. Ashes, because you draw so many cards in this deck and because you gain so much advantage with this deck, being able to stop your opponent's advantages is really good, and having the room for Ash and not have because for example in a deck like Necros you might want to avoid playing Ash. I play Ash in Necros, but in a deck like Necros where you need a lot of cards to combo off, you want to avoid playing Ash because you need the combo pieces. But in this deck, like one card can get you so far, so that's why I play the Ash. Next up, 1 copy of Gofu. I really hate that Gofu's limited, but 1 copy of Gofu, just being able to go into the link monsters, being able to go into maybe a Firewall Dragon, a Borrelode Dragon, being able to open up zones to summon your Minerva and stuff. Overall, really solid. And next up, 1 copy of Fairy Tale Snow. You don't need to play free in this version of the deck. I found that if you play free, you draw it too often, it leads to bricking. 1 is seriously all you need because you spam so many monsters onto the board that Snow is just another extra piece to be able to disrupt your opponent and be able to combo off with ALEISTER. Actually, if you have a Invocation ALEISTER in the grave, you can use Snow's effect to banish the ALEISTER and 6 other cards summon the Snow, and then you can use Invocation's effect, shuffle it back into the deck and get back that banished ALEISTER. So that is another cool combo you can do. Next up, we play One Trick Clown. Obviously that's for Brilliant Fusion. It's another it's not as bulky as obviously Felice and Wolf because you can normal summon it, and it is a nice card that you can use if you put a Proxy Dragon next to it. Proxy Dragon can protect your cards and then it will come back after you use Proxy Dragon's effect to destroy it. And then finally we have 1 copy of Gemini Garnet because Brilliant Fusion is one of the best cards in the game. Seriously, I love Brilliant Fusion. Pretty sure DZ would agree on that. Unless they're not ultimate rare. If they're super rare, I'm pretty sure DZ would tell me not to play it, if you guys know what I mean, if you've watched my Yu-Gi-Oh! Elitist video, which was pretty good joke against DZ, but overall DZ is a super cool guy. So before I go off on a tangent about DZ, we have 3 copies of Brilliant Fusion and put the ultimate rare up there especially for him. But yeah, Brilliant Fusion, there's really not much I need to explain on this. If you can't recognize why Brilliant Fusion is so good, then you're probably a scrub. I'm not even going to call you a casual there, because casuals even know why Brilliant Fusion's good. But if you fight against Brilliant Fusion, say it's a bad card, I'm pretty sure you're a scrub, because Brilliant Fusion is amazing, especially in this deck. I think out of all the decks right now that utilize Brilliant Fusion, I think Lightsworn probably use it it's most beneficial to use it in Lightsworn. Next up, we have 3 copies of Solar Recharge. Your main draw power. I don't play Desires because you end up banishing too much stuff. Plus there's not really much room in the deck for it, because you mill so much you end up decking yourself out, which I have done. If you've seen that video of me using this deck, you end up decking yourself out way too quickly if you use Desires. So Solar Recharge is enough, and you don't even need Desires because you gain so much advantage that Desires is just another unnecessary thing in my opinion for this deck. But normally Desires is an amazing card, and if you can't recognize that, you are once again a scrub. But being able to just draw 2 cards and then mill 2, discard the dead wolves from your hand and stuff, overall an amazing card. Next up, I was so happy when I saw this on the last ban list. That is Charge of the Light Brigade, 3 copies. I love this card so much. Being able to have Lightsworn's main searcher back at 3 is actually the best. Lightsworn overall is such a good deck. But once charge came back to free, it made it so much more consistent, being able to get luminance quickly, being able to get radiance quickly, making sure you don't break. The fact that we have free charge of the light brigades, free solar recharges, free brilliant fusions, and then we have the radiance, we have the luminers, and even the ALEISTER does not let you break, because you can at minimum summon it, invoke MECHABA. So free charge of the light brigade just makes it so much more consistent. Next up, 2 copies of Invocation. You can play 1 copy, you could probably get away with playing 1 copy. However, I play the 2 copies in case it gets milled and I can't get it back. Anyway, if I can't do the snow combo with ALEISTER, that's why I played the 2 copies. And so maybe I can see it once in a while more, being able to drop 2 Mechabas or 2 Invoke monsters, overall good. But obviously you can cut it down to 1 if that's what you want. And then finally we have 1 copy of Soul Charge. Soul Charge, I'm not even going to bother explaining Soul Charge, because if you can get 5 Lightsworns onto the board, or maybe 5 Lightsworns onto the board and an ALEISTER, and being able to make links and synchros, then you're pretty much set. And then finally we got 1 copy of Foolish Burial, because just being able to just drop the Wolf into the graveyard, drop the Trick Clown into the graveyard if you happen to need an extra resource late game, is overall really good. So that's it for the main deck. I think that's 13 spells and 27 monsters. You want to play more monsters than spells in Lightsworn, of course, because if you mill too many spells it gets frustrating. So you want to play majority monsters in this deck, and that's why there's only the 13 spells, which are the essential ones. Obviously Invocation could be cut down to 1 depending on how you feel about it. So next up for the extra deck, so starting it off with the Invoked monsters, we played 2 copies of Invoked MECHABA. MECHABA's really good, being able to have that negation if you have dead wolves or dead felices in hand, using them as fodder. Obviously Invocation has its own combo where you can get ALEISTER back, so you always have that fodder to be able to negate stuff. Obviously we don't play traps, so we can't negate traps, which is unfortunate, but not too many people play traps apart from Evenly Matched, which is one of the main weaknesses to this deck. Unfortunately, Evenly Matched is probably one of the worst cards against this deck, but apart from that, this deck doesn't lose too much once it's set up its board. So Invoke MECHABA, overall solid card. Being able to negate, being able the fact that it's a 2500 body, it's so easy to summon. Just normal summon ALEISTER, get Invocation, fuse it with any light monster, because your whole deck is literally light. Is really good. So next up for the other Invoke monster, I just play 1 Invoke Purgatorio. Purgatorio overall is a good card. I play it because a lot of people use Ash. Not many people use anything else, they just use the Ash. So I thought that what's the best Invoke monster that you can summon a lot of the time. We play Ash ourselves, so we can summon it ourselves, but being able to banish their Ash from the graveyard is obviously better. Not that they're going to really get it back, but yeah, keeping extra cards in your graveyard for snow, I suppose, is probably the main reason why you don't want to banish your Ash off of Invocation. But yeah, Purgatorio is really good. It can help push the game. Overall solid card. Next up, Gem Knight SERAPHINITE. Obviously you need that for the Brilliant Fusion. Not much I can say about that. Then for the synchros, we only play 2 actually. We play 1 copy of Psyframe Lord Omega, being able to recycle back then banish cards that you've banished off snow or you banished with Invocation, and being able to banish cards out of your hand. It's obviously when it's banished from the link zone, it goes to the main monster zone. Psyframe Lord Omega is obviously really good. We only play 1 because you don't really need more than 1. Normally you win by then. Next up, 1 copy of Michael, the Arch Lightsworn. This card's really good, being able to banish. It's obviously another removal. You have the level 3 Minerva, which you can tune with a level 4 monster to summon it, or you can tune Raiden with a level 3 monster like Lumina to summon it, so it's a pretty easy card to summon. Next up for the Xyz monsters, we play 1 copy of Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon, another card that can help push the game. Overall solid card that you can go into. A lot of the time you will have 2 extra level 4 monsters on your field, or 2 potential level 4 monsters that you could summon to summon out Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon. And then obviously next up, Castell. It is a staple rank 4, being able to remove cards from the field, shuffle them back. Obviously shuffling cards back into the deck is one of the best things, one of the best ways to remove cards. And then next up we have 2 copies of Minerva. 2 copies is enough. I don't think 3 copies is needed. Minerva obviously the best Lightsworn overall. Raiden may be the best one in the main deck, but overall Minerva takes the cake, I think. Being able to mill 3 cards, and then when she's destroyed, being able to mill 2, potentially destroy the opponent's monster. It's like she kind of gets her revenge from the graveyard. So overall Minerva, definitely play the 2 copies. Minerva having easy access to it, so if you're playing this deck in real life, is very good now. It's no longer an $800 price card. Then finally for the links, we play 1 copy of BORRELOAD Dragon, fairly easy to summon using the Luminous. You spam the board so much that it's actually good to drop the BORRELOAD Dragon. Another 3000 beat stick. This deck mainly just summons so many powerful monsters and overpowers your opponent. That's how it normally works. Next up, 1 copy of FIREWALL Dragon, another card that you can just mutually link up with Proxy Dragon, get a JD back from the graveyard, or bounce back your opponent's problematic monster. Then we play Dominion, the new Lightsworn Link monster. It's okay. It's not really that necessary, actually. I realised that it's much better to summon Needle Fiber or summon a FIREWALL Dragon or BORRELOAD Dragon than this. This card can deck you out a lot of the time, but it does help you when it's summoned, being able to send a card to the graveyard. It's a bit hard to summon as well, and sometimes it's wasting resources, but if you're able to summon it and if it's able to help you out, then do it. But you should kind of think twice before you summon this card, because it can put you into problems later on in the game. Next up, 1 copy of Crystron Needle Fiber. Amazing card. I think somebody commented in my comment section, what's his name? Necros Embryonic, that's it. So my older version, when Shurit dons Brionic's armor. But Necros Embryonic, you said that can't have a good deck in Yu-Gi-Oh without FIREWALL Dragon and Crystron Needle Fiber, and I think you actually are right. Seems like every deck nowadays does play FIREWALL Dragon and Crystron Needle Fiber, but Needle Fiber is amazing, being able to summon your Minerva straight from the deck and having 2 link arrows pointing down. Really easy to summon as well, because there's so many tuners in your deck with the Felice, the Raiden and the Minerva. And then next up we play 1 copy of Proxy Dragon. That's the last card. Proxy Dragon is just another card that you can put underneath maybe Dominions, link markers, or maybe Crystron Needle Fibers link markers, being able to open up another zone, link it with FIREWALL Dragon to be able to use FIREWALL Dragon's effect, being able to protect your monsters if you have the Trick Clown next to it, because destroying the Trick Clown is not going to do anything. All it really does do is make you lose 1000 life points. So that has been my Invoked Lightsworn deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any suggestions of how I could change it, or if you guys want to request any videos, please do, because I am looking for video ideas. I think I might put a Necros deck profile out soon. I'm just considering it, because there's not much that has changed between my old one and my new one, but a lot of people do want to see that, and I do want to remake that video, because quality is obviously really my quality is improving right now for these deck profiles. So it would be nice to make a kind of new video to showcase the Necros deck profile. So thank you guys for watching. This has been Shurit. Peace.